Hi, I'm Raymond.
And I'm Madeline.
And we're here to speak with you today about teen dating violence, how to spot the warning signs and strategies for preventing it, and even exiting unhealthy relationships.
What is dating violence? Dating violence is any controlling, abusive, or aggressive behavior that occurs in a relationship. Violence can manifest verbally, emotionally, physically, or a combination of some or all.
There are 5 types of abuse that you should be aware of. They include physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, social abuse, which can include isolation or even digital abuse, and lastly, economic abuse.
Let's talk about physical abuse for a moment. Physical abuse may include hitting, slapping, pushing or shoving, grabbing, kicking, hair pulling, biting, spitting, scratching, burning, choking, headbutting, throwing things, using a weapon of any kind, and even poisoning.
All of these can be pretty scary, but along with physical abuse, victims may also be exposed to emotional or psychological abuse as well. Some types of emotional and psychological abuse includes ignoring your feelings or opinions, isolating you from your friends or family, purposefully scaring you by making threats to you, themselves, or your friends and family, refusing to listen to you, silent treatment, constant criticism, gaslighting, which involves lying or exaggerating, and even humiliating you in front of others.
Another part of emotional or psychological abuse includes verbal abuse. Verbal abuse includes name-calling, putting you down, yelling or shouting, threatening comments toward you, your friends, or even your family. Not telling you things can also be considered a form of verbal abuse. Also, spreading rumors about you, laughing at you, or making fun of you. Even making statements or accusations about being unfaithful.
Controlling behavior is also a form of abuse. This behavior includes keeping you from your friends, constantly calling you on the phone, checking up on you with multiple text messages, telling you how to dress and how to act, making comments that put you down, or having to be with you all the time.
Aggressive behavior or abusive behavior is also something you should be aware of when dating. This includes coercive or manipulative behaviors, when your partner uses their size or physical strength to intimidate you, when they throw or break things, when they try to scare you with their behaviors, and they approach you with unwanted kissing or touching.
So far, we've discussed lots of forms of abuse. Physical and emotional abuse are the most apparent forms of dating violence and are usually the first signs that there is a problem. However, regular use of the other abusive behaviors by your partner, when accompanied by one or more acts of physical violence, make up a larger system of abuse. Although physical assaults may occur only once or occasionally, there are reason for concern that a future threat or violent attack may occur, deepening the cycle of abuse.
Developed by the Domestic Abuse Intervention Project, this teen power and control wheel shows a helpful diagram that identifies a general pattern of abusive and violent behaviors, which are used by a batterer to establish and maintain control over his partner.
Let's take a look at that chart. On the outside of the chart, you see physical and sexual violence. On the inside of the chart, there are 8 tactics in which the abusive partner achieves dominance. You should recognize most of these tactics. Let's take a look closer.
Isolation and exclusion. Controlling what another does, who he or she sees and talks to, what he and she reads, where they go, limiting outside involvement, and using jealousy to justify actions.
Peer pressure. Threatening to expose someone's weaknesses or spread rumors. Telling malicious lies about an individual to peer groups.
Anger and emotional abuse. Putting them down, making them feel bad about themselves, name-calling, making them think that they're crazy, playing mind games, humiliating one another, and making them feel guilty.
Using social status, treating her like a servant, making all of the decisions, acting like the master of the castle, being the one to define men's and women's roles.
Intimidation, making someone afraid by using looks, actions, gestures, smashing things, destroying property, abusing pets, and displaying weapons.
Minimize, deny, and blame. making light of the abuse and not taking concerns about it seriously, saying the abuse didn't happen, shifting responsibility for abusive behavior, saying he or she caused it.
Threats. Making and/or carrying out threats to do something to hurt another. Threatening to leave, to commit suicide, to report them to the police, making them drop charges, and making them do illegal things.
Sexual coercion. Manipulating or making threats to get sex, getting her pregnant, threatening to take the children away, getting someone drunk or drugged to get sex.
This teen power and control wheel is a helpful way to recognize any abusive warning signs that you may have in your relationship.
Next, we want to talk about the cycle of abuse. The cycle of abuse is a social cycle theory developed in 1979 by Lenora E. Walker. Walker interviewed 1,500 women who had been subject to domestic violence and found that there was a similar pattern of abuse. Let's take a look.
Phase 1. Tensions build, conflict, picking fights, arguing, criticizing, insulting, stress, verbal abuse, isolation, etc. During this period, the abuser feels ignored, threatened, annoyed, or wronged. The feeling lasts on average several minutes to hours, although it may last as long as several months.
Phase 2. During this stage, the abuser attempts to dominate the victim. Outbursts of violence and abuse occur, which may include verbal abuse and psychological abuse.
Phase 3. The honeymoon phase. The perpetrator may begin to feel remorse, guilty feelings, or fear that their partner will leave. The victim feels pain, fear, humiliation, disrespect, confusion, and may mistakenly feel responsible.
The cycle usually goes in the following order and will repeat until the conflict is stopped, usually by the survivor entirely abandoning the relationship or some form of intervention. The cycle can occur hundreds of times in an abusive relationship, the total cycle taking anywhere from a few hours to a year or more to complete.
However, the length of the cycle usually diminishes over time so that the reconciliation and calm stages may disappear. Violence becomes more intense and the cycle becomes more frequent.
Now, would you consider any of this normal behavior for the relationship? You may think to yourself, couples have arguments all the time. Or after a fight with your partner, you felt like, wow, if I knew these things were going to escalate this much, I would have just kept my thoughts to myself.
These decisions, over time, teach victims how to behave and what to accept from abusive people. This process between an abuser and a victim is called conditioning. The process of this being accepted in society is called normalization.
Normalized violence, or violence that society would generally accept, include name-calling or sharing rumors, bullying, whether it be in person or on the internet, through social media, or you've had a history of witnessing violence either on TV or in person. You may feel the need to fit in. Normalized violence also includes behaviors that enable, like taking up for the abuser or minimizing the abuser's actions.
Digital abuse and stalking. Let's take a closer look on how social media and cell phones play a role in normalized violence.
Texts, social media, and calls are being used to control and intimidate teens in dating relationships.
There are easy ways to hide things with ghost apps, instant messaging apps, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Digital abuse occurs when a partner demands explicit photos or videos or takes photos without your knowledge.
Cyberbullying is easily overlooked by parents and guardians that may not have access to online activities.
Acts such as leaking nude photos, spreading rumors, sending insulting or threatening texts or messages, putting you down in social media posts are also forms of cyberbullying.
Stalking is the unwanted or repeated surveillance of another person causing fear or safety concerns.
Looking through your phone, stealing and demanding to know your passwords, posing as you online, or using your location tracker to know your whereabouts.
And according to the Urban Institute, victims of digital abuse and harassment are 2 times as likely to be physically abused, 2.5 times as likely to be psychologically abused, and 5 times as likely to be sexually coerced.
You may not have thought about it, but when your partner controls or influences your finances, that too is a form of abuse, economic abuse. Some examples include your partner using or controlling the money that you have earned or saved.
feeling entitled to your money, expecting you to pay their bills or obligations,
giving you presents and/or paying for things like dinner and expecting you to somehow return the favor, spending money on themselves and not allowing you to do the same,
forbidding you to work or preventing you from going to work by hiding your keys, getting you fired from your job by harassing you, your employer, or coworkers, or even sabotaging your education.
So how do you avoid violence or situations that could become violent? You can't.
I can't?
No, you can't. You see, violence is prevalent in all types of situations. School, home, social media, television, music, video games. Heavy exposure to violence in its many forms can lead to desensitization. How can you manage the violence that you experience in everyday life? First, you can understand the consequences. Learn self-control. Know who you are and what you stand for. Learn about conflict resolution and practice it. Make positive choices, and of course, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Here are some local statistics that you may find quite shocking. Georgia is ranked number 3 in the nation for teen dating violence. SafeHomes provided awareness presentations to 6,872 teens and adolescents ages 13 to 24 in the 2018 and 2019 school year.
261 adolescents ages 18 to 24 received services from SafeHomes in the 2018-19 fiscal year.
In Georgia, 336,000 girls first experienced violence by their intimate partner before the age of 18.
Only 33% of teen victims in an abusive relationship ever tell anyone about the abuse.
81% of parents do not believe that teen dating violence is an issue or admit knowing if it is an issue.
In 49 cases reviewed by the Fatality Review Report Project, victims began their relationships with the person who went on to kill them between the ages of 13 and 24.
58% of college students say that they don't know what to do to help someone who is a victim of dating abuse.
38% of college students say they don't know how to get help for themselves if they were a victim of dating abuse.
What are the odds this could happen to me, or even a friend?
1 in 10 high school students have been involved in dating violence. 1 in 3 adolescents in the U.S. are victims of any form of abuse from a dating partner. Violent behavior often begins between the 6th and 12th grade.
Dating violence can have long-lasting effects on teens: alcoholism, eating disorders, promiscuity, suicidal thoughts, and violent behavior.
Dating violence can occur in any relationship. Persons of different class, culture, religion, gender can all be victims or perpetrators.
Yes, dating violence does not discriminate.
If dating violence happens to someone you know, show them that you're concerned. Let them know that you have noticed them and let them know that it's not their fault. Believe them without judgment or blame and help them get the help that they need. Intervene to an extent.
You may find it hard to understand why or how someone becomes abusive or violent. There could be many reasons, such as family history, learned behavior, belief systems, violent tendencies, the need for control, or no fear of punishment.
You may wonder, why don't they just break up? Sometimes it's easier said than done. Some reasons why people don't leave an abusive relationship include fear, believing abuse is normal, embarrassment, low self-esteem, love, social pressure, peer pressure, cultural or religious reasons, pregnancy or parenting, distrust of adults, and reliance on the abuser.
Are there warning signs of a potential abusive relationship? Yes, some of those signs include jealousy, possessiveness, denying a breakup, controlling decisions, not listening to opinions, putting you down, scaring you, pressuring you, erratic mood swings, extreme insecurity, normalizing or minimizing violence, and past violent behaviors.
What should you look for in a partner? Someone who treats you with respect?
Doesn't make fun of things you like or want to do?
Doesn't get angry if you spend time with your friends or family?
Listens to your ideas and is able to compromise?
Isn't excessively negative?
Isn't afraid to share their thoughts and feelings?
Is comfortable around your friends and family?
Is proud of your accomplishments and successes?
Respects your boundaries?
Doesn't require you to check in or need to know where you are all the time?
Is caring and honest?
is your friend first.
Even if your relationship is going as planned, it's good to always have a safety plan.
A safety plan is used to help you stay safe in all types of situations.
It can lower your risk of harm, injury, and/or abuse. It contains information that is specific to you and your life to keep you safe at home, at work, in school, or other places you go on a daily basis.
What's in a safety plan? Knowing a safe place to go inside your house and outside your house. Knowing you have a neighbor, friend, or relative that you can go to for safety.
Emergency numbers. Knowing someone that you can call or talk to you about anything.
An escape route from your home or from the path of an abuser. Also, have a code word that will alert a trusted friend or loved one.
How can we end dating violence?
We can break the cycle by becoming educated.
Promoting awareness. Empowering others.
Creating dating violence awareness clubs in school. Intervening when concerned.
Talking to a parent or adult. Participating in Safe Dates, which is a 14-lesson evidence-based curriculum that educates youth and adolescents on how to identify and prevent dating violence.
The good news is, getting help today is easier than ever for both you and your friends.
Here are a couple of safety apps that you can download.
Noonlight. When you're feeling unsafe, hold the screen's sensor button. If you let go and do not enter your PIN, the police are automatically sent to your location.
My Plan. This app allows users to judge the level of healthiness of their relationship and make a safety plan if the relationship is dangerous.
You can also visit SafeHomesDV.org or call 706-736-2499. There is someone to answer your calls 24/7.
You can also find Safe Homes on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. There you can learn about events, senior project opportunities, internships, or become a volunteer. You can also text Love Is to the National Dating Abuse Helpline at 77054. Visit loverespect.org and breakthecycle.org to learn more. Now, let's test what you learned.
Great job.
And remember, if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't.
Take care.